All right, this guy was basically like a cheap backup camera I found. So it's for like a real car. But this was a little bit more work, a little annoying. Just I kind of temporarily just put it here just to see how it would work, right? But this particular one, I basically removed the LCD screen from the housing, and I had to actually I had to buy like a little MIPI connector breakout board, right? And then solder, well, two of them. Then I had to solder a bunch of wires to extend out the LCD from the driver board, right? So the driver board's like underneath the body, and this is just the LCD. But to the driver board, I've got the rear camera. So this thing will come with, it'll come built in with a little camera on the front, but it's also got a connection for a rear camera, right? So instead of also extending out the camera, I'm just not using the front camera. I'm setting this up to only pick up the rear camera, and then I've just, ran the rear camera with its own long connections, and just got it. I've just put it right there, right? So obviously the point is like when you're driving, then you could see ahead, but you're still gonna have this angle on the rear view camera. But there's little problems that come into play there. For one, looking at an LCD screen through the camera like that, it's got to be far enough away where you can actually focus in on it. But it's also got to be sort of at an angle where you could see it well enough, right? But also, the lighting, glare, stuff like that. So I'll probably have to put some type of filter on the camera, or maybe even some kind of anti-glare stuff on the LCD, right? So I'll say like the obvious advantage of the mirror is you're going to get a real clear image. But it's just, you don't really have like a full view of your rear, right? Whereas that's what this is going to do. So maybe I don't need this anymore, but this isn't like super clear or anything. But so long as the lighting is right, it's picking up the lighting, then I can basically see if there's like a car or a person behind me or whatever it might be, right? All right, so here's the one with the cheap dash cam on it, and you can see aside from just some lighting adjustment issues, I'd say that looks pretty good. Just, for being what it is, kind of laying at an angle like that. You can see you can't really see through it right now. But again, this is all lighting issue stuff, right? So right now it looks pretty good. If I can get it so it basically looks like that all the time, then that'll pretty much be perfect, right? Could totally see if a car is behind me or whatever. Which, since I've like really ramped up the speed on this thing, I'm trying to get on the road at sometimes, and it really helps to be able to see behind me like that. So, again, it's not super clear, but I don't know, that's pretty cool. I say part of that is the O3 FPV, so it allows me to set that screen like that and still viewable. All right, so that's kind of what it looks like. You gotta catch it at just the right angle to really kind of see what the footage looks like, right? So if you're just looking at it with the naked eye, it doesn't look too bad. It's actually pretty clear. It's not a bad deal. I just got a cheap analog camera stuck to the back, right? The problem is when you're trying to look at that through the camera and the screen is sitting so close, it's not able to focus it. So yeah, I put just bootleg this little lens right here to help kind of focus it in. It doesn't really do a great job, and the light that it's picking up is not very, it doesn't look very clear. But again, it's just enough to see if there's like a car behind you, if there's just something behind you, but you're not going to see it as clearly as if you're looking at it through a rear view mirror. So again, there's other little things that can be done here. For example, putting some type of filter on the camera, as well as maybe some type of anti-glare deal on the actual screen. But once again, this is all going to change up pretty soon because they just released the gimbal for the O4. So I'm just going to rip all this crap out and install the gimbal whenever I get it. And then I'll have to, play around with remounting this and probably get some type of different lens to make that look better, right? So that's essentially how that works out. I'd say with the O3 and the FOV that it's got, it probably looks a little better on my Typhon when I'm just using a, just a cheap, what you call it, like a cheap dash cam. But at the same time, this little circuit I bought works pretty good. It's not too bad, right? This guy, though, you can see is basically, right now, because the lights are off, you can't really see. But, this is the view that I've got through that little lens. So it's just enough, where I get the same type of perspective, but it's just a little bit distorted. Yep, it's a little bit distorted because of the lens. Once again, the color is kind of funky. So this is probably going to have a problem where in direct sunlight, and you might not be able to see it. So again, got to play around with different filters and whatnot. But yeah, I'd say this actually worked out pretty good. This little module that I bought from Aliexpress ended up being a lot easier to set up than that, dash camera, right? But they both work out pretty good.